Hi, this is Karen with Karen's Cards and More, and today I have a really cute card to share with you, and I'm calling it Be Mine with a Punch because I want to show you a different way to use the coordinating punch for this set than what it's intended, and you'll see what I mean by that as we go along. So here's the card, and this could be a Valentine's Day card. It could be just to send a special greeting to someone, and I kept it real simple on the inside. And then the front is not real difficult, but I want to show you, sometimes we get locked into a way that we think a die or a punch needs to be used, and then we only use it for that one purpose, so we don't make as many cards, where if we open up our perspective of that, sometimes it can be used for more than one application. And that's what I want to talk about today. So here's the card that we're going to make, but let me show you the sets. So this set that we're going to look at, these are in the new mini catalog. It's the Be Mine Suite. And here's the stamp set, and it has a coordinating punch. So here's the punch. Now, the way this is meant to be used, what these are meant to do, of course, the little hearts you can use for little hearts, but there's pieces in here, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp these just to show you how this is meant to be used. So I'm going to bring in some black memento and some Daffodil Delight. We're going to start with the Daffodil Delight. So it's meant, this oval here, and I'm just going to set the punch out of the way. This oval here is the body of your bee. I'm just going to ink this up in the Daffodil Delight. Make sure I get good coverage, and I'm just going to stamp that down. Now, the other part of the bee is this look here. So we're going to do that with black memento. And we're going to do it right on top of our Daffodil Delight. So I'm just going to ink this up a little bit. Make sure I got good coverage. And then I'm just going to line this up so it goes right on that. I'm just going to stamp that down. And you can see the body of the bee forming. And so then the other part of our bee is this bigger heart here, and that's meant to be the wings. So I'm going to bring in some sweet sorbet. And so the stamp, the coordinating stamp, has this outline here. And so we're going to stamp that up. And we're just going to go down on our white. And that's going to give us our wings. Now let me show you how this all goes together. Close up our sweet sorbet. So and I'm going to cut this off so I can get it in my punch. So the wings, and if you're using just a little piece like this, what you can do, let me show you a little trick for that. You can attach a Post-it note, just attach it to the sticky part of a Post-it note, and that works as a little handle for you so that you can slide that little piece in there, just like that, and you can get it where you want it. And just punch that out. Now that gives us our wings. So now we need to punch our bee. So this shape here is the body of your bee. I'm going to need my Post-it note for this piece as well. just to serve as my handle. There we go. So you're just going to line it up inside the punch. I'm just going to get it lined up like that. You can see there's a little heart that punched out. Set that aside. So now we've got our bee. So when we put these wings behind our bee, and you can play with that and decide where you want them. You could even cut them and put a wing on each side. So if you cut this in the middle, you could attach one here and one down here, or you could put the double wings on each. And then in the set, there's a variety of different faces that you can put on your bee. There's antennas for your bee. So that's what it's meant to do, is give you this bee. So I'm going to set those aside, and we're going to go through what we're going to do with it today. That's going to be a little bit different use, but it's going to be a really neat card. So this is the stamp set. A lot of good greetings, a little bit of floral, and some hearts. I already showed you the coordinating die. In addition, we're going to be using this set. This is the, I always have to cheat and look at the name. This is the Stylish Shapes die, and the die set. And we're going to use the, not the smallest, but the next two. The next two of the circles. So we're going to need those. Okay. And then for ink, we're going to be using, of course, the black memento for our greeting. We're also going to use Sweet Sorbet, Daffodil Delight, Pool Party, and Lemon Lime Twist. So those are the colors. And if you don't have these exact colors, it's not going to make a difference in this card. Use what colors you have. We're going to use, I'm going to go over the card dimensions in a moment. We're also going to use the ribbon that comes with this suite. This is a Sweet Sorbet ribbon, and it's got a white trim to it. So we're just going to use a little piece of that. And we're going to be also included with this suite are these adhesive backed hearts and flowers. We're going to be using those as well. And let's go through the card pieces that we're going to use. So we're going to start with our card base. And this is just the basic white. It's 8.5 by 5.5. Then we're going to need a piece of Sweet Sorbet, and this is 3 3/4 by 5. Then we have a piece of the Designer Series paper that comes with this suite. So of this Daffodil Delight gingham, this is just slightly smaller, and you could alter this if you want more of a border. I wanted just a very small border on this. So this is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. That's what I chose. So if you go to 3 3/4 by 5 and then just back it up 2 lines, if yours is split in 16ths like mine is, let me show you that. So the Sweet Sorbet is 5 inches, 3 3/4 by 5. So what I do when I want a small border, so if you take it to the 5 and just back up 2 lines, that's 4 7/8. And that's how I cut this. Same way with the 3 3/4. I just backed it up 2 lines, and that's 3 5/8. And that's what's going to give me the small border. So if you don't want to try to get the 1/8 down, just go 2 lines, and that'll give you that trim border. Now for the next piece of Designer Series paper that I'm using, I wanted it to be the full length of my mat, so it needed to be 5 inches this way, but the height of it, you could do whatever you want. I did 2.5. You could easily do 2 1/4, or you could easily do 2 3/4. You could do whatever you want. That part, just use your own design thoughts and make it whatever you want. Then I have two pieces of the Daffodil Delight checked pattern, and these are 5.5 by half, and those are going to be for the inside. And then I also have 2 little scraps of the white, the basic white, that we're going to use to do our stamping on. And then I have of those circles that I showed you. The larger one I did out of Daffodil Delight, the smaller one out of basic white, and that's where we're going to stamp our greeting. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside for a moment, and we're going to get right into our stamping. So while I have the circle right here handy, let's go ahead and stamp our greeting. And I'm going to put back these ones that we just used for the bee body, so that I have my stamps to use, my blocks that I can use for our card today. So I'm just going to stick those back in there. Okay, so we're going to start with our greeting, and I'm using the Love You in this set. There's a greeting that just says Love You, and we're going to do that out of the black Memento. So I'm just going to ink this up, and I want to make sure I got plenty of ink, and I'm just going to stamp this down on our circle. And we have our greeting done. Okay, so I'm just going to set this aside. And then we're going to move along to our other pieces that we need here. Let me bring in my blocks. So we're going to use, there's 2 different stems. We're going to use both of them. And then there's this little flower. We're going to use that. And then there's this little, more like I would call it more like a tulip looking flower. So those are the 4 pieces that we're going to use for our design on our card. Okay, so we're going to start, and I'm going to do this because of the way they go in the punch. I'm going to do these vertical on my scraps. So I wanted to do, we're going to start with the stems, and I wanted to do Pool Party and Lemon Lime Twist. So because these stems are different, I wanted to do one of each color. So I'm just going to open my ink pads. And I'm going to stamp this one in the Lemon Lime, this one in the Pool Party, then I'll clean them, and then I'll switch so that I'll have one of each type of stem from each color, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start with the Lemon Lime on this one, and I'm just going to stamp that down. And then I'm going to go with the Pool Party on the other one and stamp that down. Just like that. And then I'm just going to clean these off so that I can switch them. Okay, so now this one was the Pool Party the last time, so it's going to be the Lemon Lime this time. And this other one is going to be the Pool Party. Just like that. Now, I kind of wanted to do the same thing with the flowers. I'm using 2 colors, but I wanted to swap them up with how I didn't want to put both on the same one. Like I'm using Sweet Sorbet and Daffodil Delight. Well, I didn't want Sweet Sorbet to be on both of these greens and the Daffodil Delight to be on both of those. So I'm going to swap just like we did the stems, if that makes sense to you. And you'll see as I do this. So one of the flowers that we're using is a total flower look. And I'm going to start with that in the Sweet Sorbet. And I'm just going to pick one of these lemon lime twists to put that flower on. Just like that. And I'm going to use the one that looks like the tulip. And I'm using the Daffodil Delight on this. And I'm going to do that on the pool party. Just like that. Then I'm going to clean these off. And I'm going to do it again, reversing the colors. So for this flower, last time I used the Sweet Sorbet. So this time I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight. Just like that. And I'm going to use the one that I'm calling a tulip. I'm going to use that on the other pool party. Just like that. So it just gave a little variation to all my flowers. So that's really all the stamping that we have to do. And I'm just off camera, I'm just cleaning these stamps so that whenever you're using one of the really dark colors like this, it's probably going to stain your stamp. And that's okay. If you clean it off, the ink's off of there, it's not going to carry over to the next time you stamp it. So don't be worried if it stains it a little bit. It doesn't hurt the stamp. Okay. So now I'm going to move my mat out of the way and I'm going to bring in my punch. So I'm going to use this body of the bee, what's meant to be the body of a bee. I'm going to use that around my flower because I think it gives it a balloon type look. You could very easily make a bouquet of balloons on the front of your card using this punch. I think it would be great for that. So I'm just going to, you can line up as much of the flower in here as you want. And I think I like it just about like that. So I'm going to punch that. And you can see I get lots of other little pieces. And then I'm just going to need to trim this off to be able to get it in there to do my next punch. And I may need my Post-it note again, just to be my handle. It is a good way to use up some of your scraps of your basic white. It seems like I collect more scraps of basic white than any other color. So, and that's going to need to be trimmed off a little bit just to get it in the punch. Just to get it down where I want it. Let's say it that way. So I'm going to just play with that till I find where it suits me. And you can turn it, and I like it just like that. So I'm going to punch that off. Move some of these scraps out of the way. And we're ready to punch the other two. So same process. I'm just playing with it, figuring out how I want it. That looks good to me. I'm just going to trim this off. And put this down in there. Figure out where I want it. That looks pretty good. And punch that. And I've got my 4 floral pieces all ready to go. And you can see how different they look. And they're not bee bodies, but it gives a unique look to our flower pieces. Like I said, it could easily be a balloon. And we have this really cool focal point for the front of our card. So that's what we're going to use. Okay, so now we're ready to put our card together. We've got our little pieces here. I've got a little bit of sticky on my glass mat. And what you can do, I buy alcohol wipes and Gooby Gone wipes, and I keep those for just those purposes, so that if I get a little sticky on my glass mat, it is super easy to clean off with those. You just wipe them, and then I keep like a rag in my craft room that I can just wipe that off. And then that takes all that goo off of there. Okay, so let's move ahead with our card. So the first thing we're going to do we're going to work on our matting. And we're going to go ahead and put, this is the back of that Daffodil Delight checked. These cute little bees. Aren't those so cute? You could definitely fussy cut those. I just think those are so adorable. And you can see how the wings of the bee look when you just stamp those and cut them out and put them on the top of the bee body, how that looks. And you can see the little face. So that's a really cute pattern on the back of this, but we're using the checked part. And I'm going to bring in my stamp and seal. And I'm just going to put some on the back of this piece. And we're going to put this on our Sweet Sorbet mat, remembering that there's just a tiny border. It's not meant to have a huge border. And then we're going to put this piece on here. And I chose to keep mine down a little and give myself more room up here because I knew how my sentiment layer was going to go on there. So you might want to play with that and see what looks best to you for how you've cut your pieces. But I know that that's the way mine's going together. And so I just want to line it up at this with the Sweet Sorbet. And I just want to try to get it straight and press that across there. So this piece is done. Then I'm going to bring in our card base and our 2 strips. This is going to go on the inside. And so I'm just going to put some Stampin' Seal on these. Now I wanted them to go completely from side to side, but I didn't want them to go all the way to the fold. I wanted to leave a little bit of the basic white to be seen. So I'm just going to try to line that up and press that. And the other one's going at the bottom. So I'm just going to, same thing, I'm just leaving a little room at the bottom. And then pressing that across. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and fold this. And that's our card base done. And this is going to go on here. I'm going to go ahead and mount our greeting layer onto the Daffodil Delight circle and have that done. And I'm just using Stampin' Seal for all this. I am not popping it up with dimensionals, but you could definitely do that if you wanted more dimension. So I'm just going to try to center this in this circle, just like that. And we'll just have that there to put on in a moment. And we're going to go ahead and put this layer on. Again, just coming in with the Stampin' Seal. Okay, I'm just going to center this on here, remembering that there's going to be a border all the way around it, and that I want this larger part of the Daffodil Delight to be showing at the top. So I've got those on there. And then before I glue these down, I just want to play a little bit with what I want to do. So I'm kind of offsetting them a little bit. And every card might be different depending on what you do here. Let me show you the card that's my sample. This is how we did it. You can turn them different ways. Something like that. Okay. So I'm just going to go back in here and put Stampin' Sew on these. You could definitely use your liquid glue if you'd rather. You could use Stampin' Dimensionals if you'd rather do that. And I'm just going to attach these to the front. Sometimes with these little pieces, it might be easier to use the liquid glue. Let's see. Maybe like that. And one more. Like that. And then we're going to attach this right up here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Stampin' Seal on that. Okay. Just like that. And then I just want to use my ribbon, and I'm just going to cut off a small piece here. We can always trim it once we get it tied, but I just need a little piece. And I'm just tying a knot, just bringing the ends over and putting them through. And then I'm kind of twisting as I pull to get the knot the way I want it. You can turn these and twist to get the knot to lay the way you want it. And then I just want to trim this other side to match. Okay. Looks like I need to take a little bit off of this one. That looks good to me. So I'm just going to move these little pieces out of the way. And then I'm just going to use a glue dot to attach this. So I'm just bringing in my glue dots. And I'm going to put this on the back of the knot. I'm just going to press that into that knot. And then I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool to pick that up, to keep the glue dot on the back of that. And then I'm just going to decide where I want that to go. On the other one, I put it on this side. If you have more room on this side and like it on that side, you could do that, which is what I think I'm going to do on this one. And you just press that down with the glue dot. And then I'm going to bring in my gems, and I used one of the light pink ones, flowers, and the pool party flowers, and then I used one of the Daffodil Delight hearts. I'm just going to, I'm going to make it a little bit different this time. So I'm going to use the Sweet Sorbet big flower, and I'm going to put one of the smaller pool party flowers. And then I'm going to come in with one of the hearts down there. Just like that. There is no right or wrong with placement of gems. I usually go with odd numbers, and I usually go in more of a triangle. But there's no right or wrong. It's just wherever you want to put them. So this is the card that we just made together. And this is the card that I made previously. A little bit different, same basic design, but two great cards, two great looks, and a different way to use the punch than just making the bee body. You may only want to use the bee body in the spring, but maybe you like the looks of that as balloons. You could punch a bunch of these out of your scraps of designer series paper and make a bouquet of balloons. Real easy for a birthday card. So there's a lot of ways to use that other than just the bee body. You could use it because of that tail. I think it would be a great sentiment bubble. You know, like in a cartoon when you see those sentiment bubbles above the characters' heads, you could easily use that for that. So you could stamp your greeting, punch it with that, and have a great sentiment bubble. I think that would be a great use as well. Hope you'll give it a try. I hope you'll think outside the box with your die cuts and your punches. How can you use them besides just the way that they were intended? What else could they be? If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button, notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a new video. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so if you're interested in any of the products you've seen me use today, you can order that from my blog, karenscardsandmore.com. You'll have all the card dimensions and the links to order. Everything will be there at karenscardsandmore.com. I have a Facebook group, a Facebook page, and I'd love to have you join me for both of those. And I hope that you'll for me, this is a cold, wintry day. I don't know where you are, what the weather's like, but it's very cold here where I'm at. So a great day to lock yourself in your craft room and do some crafting. I hope to craft with you again soon.